Hello, I'm Ivan Pozo-Illas, otherwise known as Atrayo. I'm a clairvoyant automatic writer, which basically means I channel angels through writing. I've been doing that for 21 years' time. And that practice or hobby or now calling has transformed me into I suppose, a young sage, a mystic for sure, and a muse, since I also do all of this as inspirational, and I also do conceptual designs that are very creative, innovative, very visionary, and I've posted over 200 of those on my blog site of Atrayo's Oracle on Google's Blogger. Various sectors from business, venture capital stuff, charity models, business models, inventions, even governmental policy. So the angels are very eclectic through me. And but this video is, you could say, chronicling my blog site postings. This is part two. Part one I would have posted earlier on YouTube, my channel. This will be from my post on Saturday, June the 17th. And these will be my what I call the shorthand format of my Jewels of Truth statements. And they're on 6 topics. The topics will be on heaven, truth, divinity, life, stewards, and the last one is on precious. And these are from my Twitter as one-liner, channeling the angels, and also my Facebook as 2 paragraphs, and also my 3 spiritual memes. I have over 150 of these spiritual memes, like you see all over the internet, with pictures and quotes. I do the same, and those are channelings from the angels as a spiritual wisdom, always as inclusive and compassionate in divine nature. The topics are eclectic, from the secular to the spiritual. So let me just get started. I'll dive right in. This first one will be on the topic of heaven, a spiritual meme, an excerpt from statement number 2383, and it reads as this: "Be at rest and assured that we have won the lottery of heaven, as we each obey the will of God in our hearts and minds. Amen." And you notice some of these are very poetic, and others are very controversial, because the angels are straight shooters, truth tellers. They don't shy away, and some of these writings are very bold. So you'll notice that in the tone. And that's very different from how I write personally. I write more informally. Theirs is more, you could say, highbrow. So this would be number 540B, 2 paragraphs from Facebook on the same topic as before, on heaven. "All is refined upon our souls as God, as the great equalizer, balances all karmic debts with a mercy known as absolute forgiveness. Life in this duality of the world jeopardizes our sacred truth by thrusting wrongdoing in our direction to elicit reactions as to our self-worth. Many falter. Even the saints have stumbled profusely in anguish, only to realize that only through a unity of benevolence can equality of life be achieved. No soul is in a vacuum from its peer spiritual relatives upon the afterlife, be this in heaven, limbo, or hell. Those that choose grace as their mantra by a mutual love known as divine bliss have asked, sought, and knocked upon the pearly gates of paradise, only to realize that heaven has never left their side on earth or elsewhere upon creation. Our multidimensional souls exist everywhere God has loved in sublime truth, and so do we metaphysically by extension. We are the victors of paradise because this is our inheritance and birthright as the embodiment of Goddess in us forevermore. Amen. And I sign it there with my name, Ivan Pozo-Illas, otherwise known as Atrayo. And when I state Goddess, I mean the mother feminine aspect of God. So don't get spooked. Okay, the next one. The reason why I state Goddess, like I was saying, all inclusive. The angels acknowledge that people as spirits have predominant masculine tendencies or feminine ones as genders, but metaphysically our souls have no gender. We don't have any biological genitalia as a ghost, as a spirit, and that is the image and likeness of God without gender. But that's a very mystical statement, and it's very controversial that for those who think that marriage is between one man and one woman. That's, you could say, this is more higher echelon truth or spiritual truth. Okay, this next one will be on the topic of truth. Spiritual, as a spiritual meme, as an excerpt from number 2407, and this is how it reads. Be truthful and do so with inclusive compassion, not as spineless, weak-willed fools, but as giants of God's power in us all. Amen. I love it when I start to explain something and then I read a statement and it just reinforces what I just was talking about. So the next one is from Twitter, 543B. To take the truth to its fullest expression, one must moderate their behavior in order to gauge their chances of success so as to overcome. The next one, 542B. Not always does the truth vindicate us in our human undertakings, especially when we have wronged another person. Nonetheless, we must strive collectively for that golden ideal of a better world led by an elegant truth that removes obstacles in the world. To engage in half-truths short-circuits our chances in reaching for peace of our highest good in the world, creating more heartache than it is worth, for eventually half-truths will become whole lies of our undoing. Instead, pursue a just truth with hopefully laced with compassion that restores sensibilities in ourselves and the ones we wish to influence with convictions. Compassion with unconditional truth and moderation makes us angelic in the world by our conduct. We become role models to all others, whether they seek us out or not. We sleep better at night that we gave life our best and have nothing to be ashamed of by our attempts to do right. Truth paves the way for justice and success to take hold, where lies and half-truths cause a seismic downfall in time. Amen. And I sign it there with my name, Ivan Pozo-Illas, known again as Atrayo, and that was from my Facebook. This next one is on, this next topic will be on divinity. It's just a spiritual meme. And when I say meme, I mean those picture with a quote in it. This is an excerpt from statement number 2393. And this is how it reads. To invest in people and all other creatures, including the earth itself, reveals the internal divinity united in each of us by God. And when I list an excerpt like that on the meme, some of those I may have posted on my blog site of Atrayo's Oracle. Others, you could say that's just an excerpt sampling of a statement that has yet been shared in public, so it's sort of out of balance like that. And okay, this next topic is on precious. My precious. Sorry, just uh, this is number 541B. I'm being goofy there, sorry. Okay. Always rekindle what is precious to God in life, and thus you shall be a triumph of good cheer upon the world, a promise of plenty for all. And that's that one from Twitter. This next one is on life, also from Twitter, 545B. Life is not over by a long shot, for both the gracious and the wicked. We each worship God in our own flawed image of humanity. Be divine instead with unconditional love and forgiveness for all as one. That one's a little bit more controversial. It's stating that people, religiously or otherwise, we worship God in our own image of humanity instead of worshiping God in His own divinity and His own supreme almighty nature. And by that I mean, you could say, there's two examples. They're both extreme in a way. ISIS, those terrorists who say they're for Islam, in a way they're heretics. They've taken a beautiful faith of Islam, of peace, the peace of God, and basically they've made it in their own image of humanity, in their own flawed image, and that's why they're not doing the will of God. They're actually, in my opinion, they're doing the will of the devil. But I could be pissing people off by saying that. The other example, the Roman Catholic Church, the Vatican. A decade ago, all those priests that were pedophiles and the cover-up that ensued and all the bailout in the courts, millions of dollars, that was the image and likeness of humanity in worshiping God. They do worship God, they worship Christ, but they did it in their own flawed image of humanity. So that's what the angel was going for there. I'll read it again just in case. Life is not over by a long shot. For both the gracious and the wicked, we each worship God in our own flawed image of humanity. Be divine instead, with unconditional love and forgiveness for all as one. So, there's the contrast between our humanity and our divinity. I hope I didn't offend anyone. That's not my intent, but that's the bold truth that I channel at times. This last one will be on Stewards, number 544B. 2 paragraphs from Facebook. Every once in a while, we witness the glory of God in its most pristine, innocent beauty as Mother Nature herself. How we feel insignificant upon such majesty of such audacious beauty that leaves us dumbfounded and love-struck by the grandeur of it all. This is when we could offer up a silent prayer of thanksgiving to God and the angels for guiding us to such a remarkable feat of nature to behold. Something that has taken often tens of thousands of years and is still a gradual work in progress in its subtle movements in terms of ecosystems. Often we are given the label by our capitalistic free market economies the world over as consumers, making us sound like a legion of locusts. Rather, we are guardians of this earth and each other in the best possible holy light of God, in all of us as one. I always choose the latter rather than the former, for one sings in my heart instead of beguiling my lower sense of self-worth. Whether we pick up our mantle of greatness handed to all life forms out of absolute love, or we reject the omnipresence of God in us, we have a role to play here on earth, and I hope we do so as stewards rather than unconscious consumers. Amen. and I sign it there with my name. So this pretty much will conclude part 2 from my June 17th posting. I'll put a link to the blog post so you could follow along as I read, and I also my website is jewelsoftruth.us. You'll see my blog there and the services I offer as a you could say an angelic oracle, which basically I do dream interpretation. I also am a sage, so I could take a consult in a general sense on issues of life. I'm not a life coach, but more like a Yoda or an Obi-Wan type of sage and a mystic. And also I do inspirational stuff as a muse. So if someone has is a writer or an artist that has a writer's block or artist block, I could sort of help them, re-inspire them, you could say, in a way. So, and I also have my last little announcement here. I'm starting to offer for free, completely for free, I'm not going to sell you anything, an angelic blessing invocation. Basically, I pray with you at your request to give you a blessing, but you could ask, well, for the blessing, if the blessing is on health, love, romance, prosperity, career, and protection, anything, just put a little message in the contact form, and I'll channel my angels, and we'll offer that blessing for you, and then I'll reply by email letting you know that I've done the ceremony on your behalf. So something to consider. So I thank you for watching. Please like this video, and also please subscribe to this YouTube channel so you'll be notified when the next video comes along. So thank you, and have a good day. Bye bye now.